Hey, welcome back to the channel. I am in the studio again today and I thought I'd run you through what I've got planned. I'm making an ultra strong coffee this morning because I'm quite tired. I went out to my first local Chamber of Commerce meeting for the first time in, God, I don't think I've been to one since probably March. And last night was interesting because it was a tour of this brand new sports stadium that's opening soon in my area. So lots of people were in attendance, and silly me made this the one where I would come and do my, thanks for letting me join speech. So yeah, I was so nervous about it, and thankfully my incredible nerves didn't show through on the video of the speech that they took, so I'm really, really glad for that. But then I was so wired when I got home, I couldn't really fall asleep, and so as a result, I'm quite tired this morning, so hence the very strong coffee. So in terms of what's happening in the space, a lot has changed since the last video and the last time that you had a tour. So timeline-wise, today is the 13th, I think, of November, and we've had the keys since the 20th of September. So it hasn't been too long, but we have completely moved into this space now, and it's just a matter of getting it set up in the way that we want. And what I've discovered is that you pretty much have to come into the space and work in it and just try your ideas and see what works, and just be prepared to change things around. So there's a few things that I have changed since I came here and some fantastic new additions that I'm going to show you now. Slightly boring, but I finally got a big bin for the kitchen. And it's extreme. Another new thing for the space, because I'm beginning to notice how incredibly hot it gets here during the day, is this massive industrial fan. And it is so blowy and the noise is so intense. You won't even believe it. Okay, let me turn it on. This is on 1. Wait for it. Obviously it's great for clearing all the heat out of the space and just keeping the air moving. Interestingly enough, the square meterage that this covers is more than the entire space of this warehouse. So I can put it on at this end and I can still feel it all the way down here at the new packing bench, which I'll show you now. Ta-da! This is my brand new packing bench. So you might have seen in the last video, I was working on one of those little low, market tables. And it got me by with a friend of mine who, makes furniture and does welding and does all this kind of stuff. His name's Lee. He's from Savage City Industries in Brisbane, Australia, and he made this incredible packing bench for me. So it is welded steel at the base. It's got really big heavy-duty casters. It's got the bottom shelf, and then the top bench here, and then it's got 2 shelves on top. So this is incredible because I can really, really spread out and just do everything I need to do. So the table I was working on previously, my national shrink wrap system, I can only really seal about 2 or 3 rows of soaps at a time. With this, I can just spread it out and go the whole length of the bench, pretty much as long as I need to. And that just saves me so much time, and I can shrink and wrap in the same area, which is incredible. There's some pegboard there. I'm going to put a felt board here in the middle, and then I've got a magnetic whiteboard. So that's really handy for hanging up orders and things that I've got on for the day. Got my new hex wrap that sits here, and I can just tear it off. I've got my boxes underneath, and then samples and stickers and all that kind of stuff that I put into orders. I've got a system coming to help cope with my mailers. That's something that's coming soon that'll be coming from IKEA. So I'll show you when that arrives. And then I've got some of my labels up here. I can't fit all of them because the majority of them go into this massive box here that weighs probably, 14 or 15 kilos. So it's just going to have to stay on that shelf for now. And I finally tidied up these shelves somewhat. They're not completely organised, which is something I'm tackling today because I've got a lot of loose soap moulds and other bits and pieces that need to be better organised. So I'm going to get some, stacking containers go out and buy them today, measure these spaces to make sure that I'm getting the best size. Yeah, and just try and bring a bit of order to this space here. You can see at the moment that I've got my finished like soap products in these crates, and I'm in the process of going through and labeling them all. What I had actually hoped to do is get some cardboard pick boxes, like warehouse style pick boxes. And there's a couple of places in Australia that do it. I found one that seemed to have pretty good prices, and then when I was going through to purchase them, realised that GST wasn't included in the prices straight up, and the shipping was going to be phenomenal, and just getting, you know, 30 of these like cardboard divider things was going to cost over $200. So I've nixed that idea. I've decided it's not worth it at this point, even though there is a time saver when it comes to putting your, you know, hand into the pick boxes versus having to like lift things up and be careful of your knuckles and all that sort of stuff. I just can't justify that expense really for some cardboard. So yeah, that's one of the sort of somewhat annoying things I've come up against. I didn't expect that to be quite so expensive. And then you can see in the manufacturing area here, I haven't actually switched things around as I had, you know, meant to. I did mention that in a previous video. And the reason for that is that in this box here, I've got a big giant melter, which is like the Big Mama version of this one, which is melting some oils at the moment because I'm going to be making some soap in a couple of hours. Yeah, the diameter of it is so big that, and it's going to take up an entire one of these benches. So I'm looking at buying a separate packing bench that will go, you know, here. But pretty much all of this is going to have to move down, which means adjusting the feet again because they'll no longer be level. So I'm like, I'm going to have to move this anyway. It's going to be a big thing. So I'll just leave it as it is and just try and do the whole thing in one go rather than, you know, trying to do it twice. Let's see, my slab colour. The wire's been changed, so I'm back to using this this bad girl here, which is quite exciting. The only trouble with this one is that the wire only cuts to like here, so I have to physically push the loaf through the rest of the way, which is, you know, slightly annoying because me pushing is not quite as, you know, accurate as if the whole thing moved all the way to the end, which is something that my little homemade cutter, you know, doesn't do, which is much better at. So, you know, there's that. Yeah, so that's pretty much this space. Some of the other things I have on today. A lot of these soaps have to be beveled and then wrapped. There's some fresh ones there that I cut the other day. They need a bit longer before I'll stamp. And what else? Photography areas just sort of sitting there somewhat neglected. I've just found there's so many other things that I need to do that I'm just not giving that the time, you know, that it needs. But there's some new stuff in the showroom and my office, so I'll show you that now. If you can hear music in the background, that's just some of the other tendencies, you know, living their life, doing their stuff. So now we are in the showroom and it's slowly coming together. I'll try and get a better shot, but basically those curtains are covering up a glass slider, and, you know, it was just ugly. It was convenient to walk all the way through it, but I really wanted this to be like a little enclosed space. So these are theatre curtains that I've bought from Spotlight for people that are in Australia. And I've just got the curtain rail, you know, system there. So that's basically just to hide that slider and then provide a nice backdrop for this bookcase that I managed to find on Facebook Marketplace. And it's really cool because this base here, it's like a little blanket box, and I can use that to keep extra stock and other bits and pieces. So it's kind of bare at the moment because a lot of my stock is currently sitting in a pop-up shop that I'm bumping out of next week. So I've been there for about 3 months and it's been quite successful, but, you know, I've really got to think about Q4 and my stockists and all my customers that want to buy things from me online from all over Australia. And I've just got like a lot of stock physically in that one location in Brisbane, Australia. Yeah, so that's coming out. So then the showroom will be able to be, you know, fitted out a little bit more. All that's in here at the moment, just because I didn't have anywhere else for them on the shelf. Some different colorways of the coffin basin trays that we do. I have these custom made. So these go on your, you know, bathroom basin, or you can use them anywhere in the house, and hold your soap and toothpaste and all that stuff. Then I have these gorgeous coffin soap dishes. And these are also made by the same people. Yeah, so eventually this is going to look incredible. And then on this side, somewhat, you know, boring looking little dresser. That's going to be covered with some, you know, heavy fabric, really drapey, really pretty. And then that'll be another display. And I'll get some type of, you know, risers for on there. I'm not really sure what yet. Perhaps like the typical sort of soap risers, or maybe I'll get like some nice shape shelving display things. We'll see, but that's also going to be, you know, where other products go. And then on this side, I'm trying to find like an antique sort of vintagey, beautiful, like grandfather chair to sit there. So far I haven't had any luck because I'm just looking on Facebook Marketplace. Some things I've found, you know, then I just don't have the space in my van to actually, you know, collect them. Most people don't do delivery with stuff that you're selling on Marketplace, of course. So yeah, that's kind of in the process. I also want to have a nice big rug put down on the floor here, and then some type of coffee table, and that'll the idea is that it's going to feel like this really chill, sumptuous, elegant, relaxing space where people can come and shop and sit down if they want to, take a look at things, you know, and yeah, that's the idea. That's the vision. Hopefully the space is actually big enough for it, because once I got the bookshelf in, I was like, can I fit the things that I want in here? I don't know. And last but not least, this is the office area that's starting to come together. So on the weekend, last weekend, we put up some shelves in there, you know, whiteboard and those types of things. You know, it's very modest, it's very simple. I want to get a nice rug in here and also one for the hallway, but we'll see how that pans out. Yeah, that's that IKEA set. It's been so hot, so I've had to bring a fan in here because the place isn't air conditioned, and you know, we're in summer now. But yes, that's pretty much what we are working with. I'm sure it'll change over time, but this is the current iteration. And thankfully by now my coffee is probably ready. I'm going to plunge that, pour my coffee. Oh, I'll use my new mug from Chamber of Commerce. Yeah, so I'm kneeling on the floor, so what? So this is one of the mugs that I got. And fresh and new, Greater Springfield Chamber of Commerce. Whoops, can you even see that? Yay. So I might use that instead of my favourite one, a coffin break. Okay, coffee time. Well, thank you for coming on the current tour, and I will see you again next week. Bye.